Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rekakadash. And I also want to give double honors to the elder apostles at Great Millstone for bringing out this truth. Today, I'm going to be prophesying the downfall of Babylon the Great and the rest of Esau, Edom's kingdom. We'll be going into Revelations, the 17th chapter. Let me pull out the sword and get into it. Alright, so let's go to the book of Revelations, chapter 17, start at verse 1. It reads, "And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, Come unto me, come hither. I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters." Okay, so this is John the Revelator, the disciple of Yahushai, now the apostle of Yahushai at this point in the book of Revelations. Okay, and so he was being shown a vision, and on this vision he saw what he described as the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. And so this great whore represents Babylon the Great today, which is America. And the many waters that it goes into is talking about the nations and peoples, the multitudes of people that the whore is over, basically, because America is basically like a dominant force in the world today, is running everything. So let's get a little background specifically on Esau Edom, who is the leader of Babylon the Great. Okay, so let's go back to Genesis. Let's go Genesis, the 27th chapter. Let's go down to the 38th verse. And he reads, "And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even also me, O my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. So Esau was sad because Jacob got the blessing. So remember, Esau gave his birthright over to Jacob for that bowl of some type of red food. So now he's upset because Jacob has gotten the blessing that he wanted. And now he's like, is there any blessing left for me? So let's see what blessing Esau got. Verse 39, "And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above." Okay, so now this is Esau's blessing. Okay, verse 40, "And by the sword thou shalt live and serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck." So if we look at Esau, Esau has just basically came out of Mount Seir and just taken lands from other people. He's stolen their homes, their heritage, everything. He took the best of everything. And you can see that. Okay, so Esau Edom today would be predominantly the so-called pale man, this abominable snowman. Not saying that it's all about skin color, because it's not, because it's about the seed of your fathers. So you could be as dark as me, darker than me. You could look like any other race and still be an Edomite. And the same thing as it goes with the Israelite. It's more of a spiritual thing. But the first way you recognize is usually by like skin color, but you got to look deeper than that. You got to test the spirit. Okay, and let's look at the next part of Esau's blessing. "By thy sword thou shalt live." So what is the modern day sword? The sword today would be like the gun, these missiles, these advanced weaponry that Esau Edom has, and that's how he lives. So if you look at America, which is basically the head of Esau Edom's empire, you would see that America has taken over mostly by war. They just fight. Like we've been a country for what, 200, maybe 70 or 80 years, and about 250 of those years we've been at war. And so if you look at the amount of military bases that are around the world, you would see that America has over 1,000 bases. That's a lot. So that's how we claimed our dominance in the world, everything, because of war. And that's what Esau's blessing was. So farther proving who Esau Edom is today. Now, if we go back to the 25th chapter, and we go to the 21st verse, and it says, and Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And how she did that was she went to the prophets, because that's who Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai spoke to. Okay? 23. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So, this was talking about Jacob and Esau. Hello.
Aloha. I just want to say, God bless you, my brother.
Thank you.
Yeah. What are you doing here?
Just discussing Revelation 17, going into the history of it.
Bless you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Okay. Where were we? We were at Genesis 25 and 22. So these 2 nations, they were struggling inside her womb. Okay? We'll read verse 23 again. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. Okay? So that was talking about Jacob and Esau would be 2 different manner of people. Okay, why were they fighting in? Because they were basically 2 nations, and they were going to conflict. They conflicted inside the womb, and they're still conflicting to this day. They're 2 different manner of people. Okay, verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that, his brother came out, and his hand took upon Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was there 80 years old when she bare them. So Esau Edom came out red, not like like red, like a stop sign red. But if you look in, I just saw this in the Webster's dictionary, the 1828 dictionary, and you look on the definition of the word white, and then you go down to the second definition, which is pale, it says a tinge color of blood. And so that's how you would describe Esau, Edom, because you can see the blood through their skin. Especially you can see it like when they come out of the womb, or even if they get flustered or any kind of trouble, their face get flustered, you can see the blood through their skin. Okay, so it's easier to see than other nations. Yes, you can see that some babies that are even like darker skin, or even Israelite babies might come out and they'd be like, oh, he's red. That's not the red of Esau Edom. It's a little different. But people try to pass that off, just to write off what the Bible says about Esau Edom. So we can go to 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha, and go to chapter 6. Verse. We'll read verse 8, 9, and 10. And it says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand first held the heel of Esau. And we just read that in Genesis. Okay? And for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. And so that's what that meant. So Esau right now is running the world. Okay? That's what, Job 9 and 24. We'll get that. But that's how we know we're at the end of the world, because Esau is running the world right now. And so we know Jacob's kingdom is coming after that. Okay? And so it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. Exactly. And the hand of a man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question, Ezra asks thou not. So let's go back. I think Job in 9 and 24. Yeah, it says the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. And according to Malachi 1 and 4, the wicked is Esau, Edom. Yeah, Malachi 1 and 4. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. Talking about he covered the faces of the Israelites, the father and the son. He covered all the faces and the Elohim. If not, where and who is he? And so if he didn't do it, then who else did it? So he did it. And so that's how we can identify who Esau, Edom is. Because he fits these prophecies. Just like we fit the prophecies of Jacob. That's how we know who we are. Okay, now let's go back to the book of Revelations. Let's jump down to Revelation 17 and 15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, which again is Babylon the Great, aka America, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So the whore is basically ruling over the world. Okay? Now, can also get another precept for Revelation 17 and 1. Go to the book of Jeremiah. (51) and 13, and it says, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. Exact, because Esau, Edom, he covers land that's not his. That's all he did was take from people, and he used his blessing, the sword, to get it. And so even Jeremiah prophesied about Esau, Edom. He prophesied about Babylon the Great, America. You can also look at what Nahum chapter 3, woe to the bloody city. That was talking about Nineveh back then, but it can be applied to America because it's the same thing. The Bible is just like parabolic and repeating over and over again. Okay, so let's go. Well, let's get that Nahum. Nahum 3 and 1 said, woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departed not. Exactly. That's all Esau, Edom did. And who would be the prey in this case? The prey would be Jacob. The prey would be the Israelites. Because did they let us free? Did they let us go? No, we're still here. We're still subject to payments in the land of our captivity. It says, let's look at verse 4. And it says, because of the multitudes of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. The whore of Babylon, the well-favored harlot, America. Same thing. The mistress of witchcraft, which selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. Exactly. That's what Esau, Edom has done. Babylon the Great. All right. Now, let's go to Revelations. Let's get chapter 17 and verse 2. It said, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So that word fornication, it has both spiritual and physical meanings. So on the physical side, fornication can be adultery, which is sleeping with a married woman. It can mean bestiality, which we all know what that is, incest, those things, just sexual immorality, the things that you can find in what Leviticus 18 chapter, things that you're not supposed to do. And then on the spiritual side is basically going against Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And so it was prophesied that the Israelites here, we would go and worship other gods, even wood and stone. That's Deuteronomy 28 chapter, and we did do that. But what Esau Edom is doing here, he is convincing the world by giving them this wine. Okay, the wine represents the philosophies and doctrines of Esau Edom, and he's convincing the rest of the world to go along with it, like things like feminism, trying to push their democracy on people, the LGBTQ alphabet soup stuff, all of those things pushed by Esau Edom, and it's destroying the world. You can see, if you look it up, you can see that they put sanctions on countries for not accepting the alphabet soup, all of that stuff. It's crazy. But that's what Esau Edom was prophesied to do, so they have to stand in their lot and fulfill their lot. And that's what they're doing. So we could get a precept from that, going back to Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. And so another example is Jeremiah 51 and 7. And it says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, and therefore the nations are mad. So the nations have been drunk with this philosophy, and eventually the nation's gonna get mad because they're gonna be like, oh crap, we did the wrong thing, we made the wrong move, we went down the wrong path. And so that's going to happen. So they took on things like gender equality, feminism, the effeminate stuff, all these different philosophies. And there's new philosophies that are kind of made up every day. Like, I saw the weirdest philosophy last night. We're in a live, and this man was talking about this energies and, I don't know, the sun and somehow the woman being God. It was craziness. And that's what America has done. This is the poison from Esau, Edom. Like Galatians chapter 3, verse 1, he's talking about, oh, foolish Galatians, who had bewitched you? Oh, foolish Jake, who has bewitched you? The answer is Esau, Edom. That's who's bewitched you. Like, the world. He's bewitched the world with all these different doctrines and philosophies. Everything is off. The world is upside down. It's tilted off. It's on the wrong axis. It's probably spinning the wrong way. Like, that's how confused the world is. There's a Babylon. Babylon actually goes into confusion. But that's all this is. This is confusion. Like, that's how we fell in the garden. Everything going off. It's just... The world is just in a messed up state, and it's not going to get back into the right state until Yahweh Bashim Yahushai comes back and sets everything in order. Okay. So let's go back to the book of Revelations. Revelation 17, verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, so now he's having a vision, and he's seeing this actual woman on a beast in his vision. And so that woman is that great whore, America, Babylon the Great, okay? She is the one who's leading, okay? And then names full of blasphemy. So what names full of blasphemy? Things like Jesus, all these other names that they made up, Yehoshua, Yahweh, all of these things. That's not his name. The name is Yahweh. The son's name is Yahushai. It's not that hard. But people just can't get it, okay? But they steadily perpetuate these names of blasphemy. It's common to see any and everybody calling on the name Jesus. Even people who don't believe, they might stub their toe and they might be like Jesus. Or they might see something tragic happen before them. They'd be like Jesus. Like, idolatry is so ingrained because of this wine, this fornication, this false doctrine that Esau Edom has pushed upon the world. Okay? All led by, the false prophet, of course, Catholic Church. But that's another story. Having 7 heads and 10 horns. So these 7 heads and 10 horns. So the 7 heads would go into Germania Major, Germania Minor. That's 2. Then Rome, Spain, Greece, France, and then Britain. That's the 7 heads of Esau Edom's kingdom. And then the 10 horns go into NATO and the EU. So it's basically just a revived Roman Empire. That's what it's going into. And you kind of get the same thing if you look at Revelations, the 13th chapter. So if you look at the book of Revelations, you'll see that it's kind of telling the same things through like different visions in each little chapter. All right, let's go to the 4th verse. And it says, the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. So now he's describing this woman that he saw in this vision and just describing her splendor. So you can see how, like, the rest of the world, like, historically were attracted to America. Everybody wanted to come there. Oh, yeah, it's the land of the free, home of the brave, land of opportunity, and stuff like that. And it's really just a deep pit of destruction. I mean, it's just waiting for the missiles. That's it. But the world can't see it. But the minute Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, they can't see it. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians. I want to get a precept. 2 Thessalonians 4. To go back with the blasphemies, Revelation 17 and 3. And this is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4, and it said, who oppose it and exalted themselves above all that is Yahweh, or that is worship, so that he, as it says, God sitteth in the temple of God, God going into Yahweh, showing himself to be that he is the power, but he's not the power. And so he covered the faces of judges thereof. That's another blasphemy that he did. He's basically put himself as being the power, as being God, but he's not. We know Yahweh is the supreme power. And Esau Edom tried to set himself up to be that power, but he's not. He tried to set himself up to be the people, the Israelites. Now we see what the Amalekites are doing. Esau is being made bare right now in front of our faces. Like his kingdom is literally falling. He might not see it yet, but we see it. All right. And in our hand full of abominations and filthiness of our fornication. Verse 5, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery. Mystery because John didn't know it was going to be America, so it's a mystery. Okay, and then Babylon the Great. Babylon goes into confusion, like I said. Goes back to the word Babal. Babal means confusion, just like going into the Tower of Babel. That's where the nations, their tongues were confused. The mother of harlots, okay? Mother of harlots because harlot goes back into what? Prostitution, committing immoral acts. So that well-favored harlot, that is America. It is full of fornication. It is causing the rest of the world to go off. Basically, like if you look at the history of the Israelites, they went a-whoring after other gods. So that's what America is causing everybody else to do. That's why it's the mother of harlots, because it's just making all these other people go, and they're like little daughters, like, oh, just follow after America. Yeah, let's do that. No. And abominations of the earth. So abominations are detestable things. And all of those things are freely done here in America, like the alphabet soup situation, like it's promoted here. Anything that's just is kind of deemed down and looked upon and stomped on. But anything that's like sick and twisted is like, yeah, let's do that. And, you know, don't look down on people. And, you know, there's no judgment. There's no shame here. We got women running wild and rampant and just, you know, destroying society. It's crazy. And it's not just Jim, it's just the men too. Like there's no order. It's just complete chaos. And all of that's allowed here. And it's a shame. It really is. Revelation 17 and verse 6, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua, and when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So that woman, again, talking about Babylon the Great, drunken with the blood of the saints. Who are the saints? The saints are the Israelites. That's who the saints are. Okay? And with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. Because how many of the prophets have they killed? How many of the Israelites have been killed in, you know, this country? A bunch of them. Like, you can look at what happened throughout history. You can look at slavery. You can look at what happened with the Trail of Tears with the American Indians, because the Israelites are predominantly the so-called blacks, the Native Americans, the Native Americans and the Mexicans. And you got the Caribbean Islanders also. And of course, there's the speckled bird Israelites. Okay. And he says, I wonder with great admiration. So John was kind of like puzzled. He was like, ooh. In verse 7, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? So the angel's like, why are you marveling? Why are you getting stuck on him? Like, you know, because that's what happens to people now. Like, they get caught up in the things that America has and that it promotes. It says, I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which had the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Okay, and we already went through that again. So we can do it again. The 7 heads: Germania Major, Germania Minor, Rome, Spain, Greece, France, Britain. 10 horns, EU and NATO. Because they all work together. And the beast said, and the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell in the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And so, for the beast that thou sawest that was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Let's skip down to verse 11 and see what the angel says. It said, the beast that was and is not, he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and going into perdition. So of the 7, it's talking about America rising up out of Britain, because America was initially a British colony. So America is that 8th beast. And so, again, it is that power of the revived Roman Empire. It's the military might of it. It's the most powerful nation on the planet right now. Okay? And so, that beast is a revived Roman Empire, but specifically right now it's just talking about America. but you can't see it as the whole Roman Empire, because the whole Roman Empire did come back. So think about it, John's having a vision. So the Roman Empire was back then, and then it was not, and then it is, because here it is right now as America, and then the whore and the beast. Okay, so America is the leader of this beast. Okay, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. So the bottomless pit, so pit goes into a land mass. Okay, and so we could get that precept with Second Ezra's, Second Ezra's 5 and 24. Second Ezra's 5 and 24 says, and of all lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit, and of all flowers therefore one lily. And so the one pit, that pit is talking about Israel in this scripture, but it's just showing us that a pit is a landmass. And that pit, the bottomless pit, is Europe, because Europe doesn't have any natural resources. Okay, so that's why they go and steal and rape and pillage and get it from other places. Okay, so Esau, Edom came out of the bottomless pit and they went into perdition. Okay, so what did that mean? So remember, Esau, Edom was captive for 1,000 years. They were in like a state of decline. They were in a state of very deep confusion. They were up in the Caucasus Mountains, and that's when Jake ruled Europe, and that's what they called the Dark Ages, but they tried to cover it up with the Renaissance, the iconoclasm. That's what happened. Okay, and it says, and they that dwell upon the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. Okay, so they're wondering, they're marveling, they're caught up in the spell of Esau, Edom, because they don't know, they don't have that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding coming from above, from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, that he gave us in these scriptures. They can't understand it. Because their name wasn't written in that book of life. So whose names are written in the book of life? The elect. I mean, we're hopeful elect right now, but we don't know if our names are written, but we hope. But the elect can't be deceived, so they're going to know. But everybody else, they're going to be deceived. Okay? And it says from the foundation of the world, because the elect, they've been chosen from the beginning. So they can't go off. Not saying that they can't sin, but a righteous man falls, I forgot, what, 7 times or more, loosely quoting, but he's going to get back up again. It says, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Okay? Verse 9, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Talking about governments. So Esau, Edom, beginning with America, is talking about America being on top of these 7 other nations, these 7 mountains, these 7 governments, what we just discussed, with Germania Major, Germania Minor, Rome, Spain, Greece, France, and Britain. Okay, verse 7, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. So the 5 that is talking about that have fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. So 5 that fall, Germania Major, Germania Minor, Spain, Greece, and France, they fell. Okay, the little empires fell. And then the 1 that is at that time, that was Rome. Okay, and then 1 that is to come is talking about Britain. Okay, it must continue a short space. So that little British Empire, it went on for its little time. And now, and the other is not yet come, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space. That was talking about Britain. In verse 11, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and he is of the 7th, and go into perdition. And so this is talking about America rising up out of Britain. Okay? And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Okay, and so that's talking about NATO. The EU initially was like 10 nations. Now it's a bunch more. You can also look at the statue, Daniel, the 7th chapter. Like it was like mixed with clay and metal. So it's partially weak, partially strong. So those 10 toes and the 10 horns are the same thing. Okay, and so 1 hour with the beast. So if you go to 2 Peter I think it was 2 Peter chapter 3, 2 Peter 3 and 8. Let's see. To see how time is viewed in the scriptures. It says 2 Peter 3 and 8. But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with Yahweh as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So, if 1,000 years is one day, and I was saying they had 1 hour with the beast, if there's 24 hours in a day, then divide 24 by 1,000, you get 41.6, so that's around 42 years. All right. And it says 13, so these have one mind and shall give their power and strength to the beast. So that means they're working together. So Esau, Edom, they're on the same page as far as the beast system. Not all of Esau, Edom, because even though Russia is part of Esau, Edom, they're not part of the beast. Okay? Actually, that bear that's going to come against the beast. All right. Let's go to verse 14. So victory for the Lamb. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. So they are with him that are called, chosen, and faithful. That's talking about his elect. Okay? So let's get a precept about that in 2 Ezra, the 13th chapter. Going to Ezra's a lot. So you see all the prophets were on the same page. Like, they were seeing the same things. Like, the Bible doesn't contradict itself, including the Apocrypha. They're all lining up. So this is 2 Ezra 13, starting at verse 3. And I behold, and lo, the man that waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. This man is talking about Yahushua. And verse 4, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. Verse 5, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the earth to subdue the man that came out of the sea. So this is talking about the armies of the world coming against Yahushua. Verse 6, I beheld, and lo, he had graven unto himself a great mountain and flew upon it. That's talking about a giant chariot. The fathership, they call it. Okay? But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. Verse 9, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. Verse 10, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest. Verse 11, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which had prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. So this is Ezra. He's seeing Yahushua just murk them. He just murked the armies of the world. And now this flame tempest is supposed to be describing these lasers coming from the chariots. That's what Yahushua flew upon. So let's get back to the book of Revelations. And verse 15, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. So we talked about earlier on. So this whore is ruling over the world. She's on top of the world, ruling over all of these other nations. Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Now, I know I said they were working together a few verses ago, but America is doing stuff that's going to make the world hate them. Like, think about it. Like, Who do you think blew up that pipeline that was running into Europe from Russia? America. Okay? And now they're sitting by allying, the Amalekites as they massacre the Ishmaelites over there. People gonna hate that. Like, think about it though. All right. And they probably gonna do other stuff. Like, it's prophesied that they gonna hate her. So I don't know what else she gonna do. But she gonna do it. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So what is that talking about? They're gonna turn on America. That's when they go shoot them nukes. And that's gonna be it. America gonna be a desolate wasteland. Let's go Jeremiah 49. Remember, all the prophets talking about the same thing. Jeremiah 49:31. And it says, arise, get you up unto the wealthy nation that dwelleth without care, saith Yahweh, which have neither gates nor bars, which dwell alone. And that's talking about America, okay? Because we live pretty careless here. We like, oh yeah, nobody is going to mess with America. Like, people literally believe that America can fight the whole world and win. Like, that's how far gone the people are in this country. Like, it's wild. Like, just have a conversation with somebody and you'll see. Jeremiah 50 and verse 20. It says, in those days and in that time, saith Yahweh, the iniquity of Asherah shall be sought for, and there shall be none in the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found, for I will pardon them whom I serve. Oh, I read the wrong verse. Verse 12. It says, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. And so, who's the mother of America? She's talking about Britain, right? Okay. So, that's basically talking about these other nations that are going to turn on us. Because remember, Britain is part of the beast, and they're going to turn on America. Okay? And so they're going to make her desolate. She's going to be a desert, a whole desert after that nuclear destruction. That's going to come to pass. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 55, and verse 20. Let's talking about Esau Edom. He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him, and he had broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So it's talking about the nature of Esau Edom. He makes promises, says smooth things, but he breaks all his deals. He breaks all his covenants. He'll do stuff and hide his hand because he's just wicked to the core. And so no wonder the world is going to hate him, okay? Even the other Edomites, they go hate him, okay? Let's go to the book of Obadiah, which is a very good book. You should read it. Obadiah 1, verse 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. So they go turn on him, okay? And prevail against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there's no understanding in him. So Esau is going to be made confused, like he's not going to see it. The world going to turn on him. His allies. It's prophesied, so it's bound to happen. Let's go to the book of Joel. Joel chapter 2, verse 7. And it says, they shall run like mighty men, talking about the missiles. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one in his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. So those missiles, they go come and they go stay on target, and they're not going to miss. There's going to be a sight to see. Now, I don't want to be here when they hit. Hopefully, I could be in that number. I pray that I'm in that number. Or I could be standing up on that sea of glass watching the destruction. Now, let's get back to Revelations and finish out. Revelation 17. Okay. Verse 7. For Yahweh had put in their heads to fulfill his will and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. Exactly. So we don't have free will. Yahweh controls everything. People think they got free will, but go look at the example of Pharaoh in Genesis. Pharaoh didn't have free will. None of us have free will. We can all play our part in the script that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai has set for us. Okay, verse 18. And the woman which thou saw is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Speaking about America, the top nation. Okay, and let's go close out with Zechariah 4 and 7. And it says, who art thou, O great mountain? Before Zerubbabel, thou shalt become a plain, and he shall bring forth the headstone thereof with shoutings, crying, grace and grace unto it. Remember, mountain is what? A government. Okay? It's going to be flattened. America is going to be flattened. Okay? Esau Edom is going to go down, and Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is going to see to it. So, that's it for Revelation 17. So, again, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Rekakadash. And again, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for bringing out this truth. Shalom.